Yeah, right now we are in a state of turmoil as far as the world is concerned. As far as our political figures who are spearheading the consciousness of the planet at this particular day and time. So whether you agree with Trump or not, whether you agree with Democrats or not, it doesn't matter who's in office, because whoever's in office always passes the baton to the next president. I spoke about this on another platform, where each president has a specific job that they must carry out in order to keep their particular empire either on top, or to keep the global empire that they are a part of on top. As far as it pertains to Trump and all the other empires in the world, what me and my kin or kindred or somebody who's a part of my tribe, what we figured out was that these political figures were following a religious manuscript, and that religious manuscript happened to be part of the Bible, which just happens to be the universal book of consciousness for the planet, because that is the overarching theology or the consciousness that is keeping the world where they're at, right? So Christianity is is probably the foremost religion on the planet, or spirituality on the planet. So with that being said, the consciousness of the planet is geared towards that, because more minds are on that frequency or that brainwave oscillation of the planet. As far as it pertains to Netanyahu and Israel is following another set of consciousness, right, which just happens to be a little lower than the Christian consciousness, right? And I'm using the word consciousness because the planet also follows a certain level of consciousness, right? And when cycles are intertwining between each other, meaning when you're going from one cycle to the next, you're gonna have a conscious shift taking place, right? So we see right now in this particular day and time, there's a lot of conscious shifts taking place on the planet, right? And those that know this, those that politicians or spiritual people who are the heads on this particular planet, they know this. So they have to do certain things in order to keep the consciousness of whoever their particular god is alive, right? So a god is headed by specific consciousness, and I'm gonna just put it in layman's terms, right? So you have different levels of brainwave frequencies, and you also have different levels of frequencies, right? So currently the planet Earth is under what you would call the Schumann resonance, right? So the Schumann resonance, I think, is about 7.83 hertz, right? So that's where our planet kind of resides as far as frequency is concerned. Then you have brainwave frequencies that range from alpha to gamma, right? So you got the alpha frequency, beta, delta, theta, and gamma. I might be missing one or two. Good.
Hulk, like gamma.
Hey, right. And it's funny because the Hulk frequency is the strongest frequency. That's why you see the Hulk, he'll turn green, and that's when he becomes his strongest as far as physically. But mentally, mental strength, gamma is the highest frequency that you could reach as far as mental strength is concerned. But it all ties into consciousness as well. So the reason why I mention that is because when you see activities like the Industrial Revolution, a lot of bombs and wars happening, it's to keep the consciousness of the planet on a certain frequency. So their God resonates on a frequency which you would call it's called delta, right? Delta is just a Greek letter, like the letter D, right? It's the fourth letter of the Greek alphabet, right? And that delta frequency is between, I think, 0 and 4, right, hertz. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because that frequency keeps the brain in an unconscious state, right? So when people say you're waking up, or they use the word, oh, you're conscious now, right? So people are usually in a state of sleep when they're in the delta frequency. So the gods of these people, the way that they keep their God strong and keep them active is by keeping people in a state of delta frequency. This is all scientific information. So if somebody wants to go out there and they want to research it for themselves, they will see that the frequency of sleep and unconsciousness is delta, right? So, and we're gonna go a little deeper now, where whenever a bomb is dropped, right, it gives off a lot of gases and a lot of fumes that goes up into the atmosphere, and it saturates the atmosphere. And when it saturates the atmosphere, these gases keep the frequency at delta or lower, right? And human beings, we can't see frequencies, right? But our brains oscillate on these frequencies, right? So if an environment is full of gamma radiation, then your brain will automatically oscillate on that frequency. If it's full of delta radiation, or frequencies rather, it will oscillate on that particular frequency. So it's their job to keep the planet on a delta frequency or lower, and that delta frequency keeps people at an unconscious state, right? So that's where their God resonates. Their God resonates in the delta frequency, or their God is the delta frequency, right? And of course you have positive and negatives to the delta frequency, right? Because everyone needs sleep. So when you sleep, your brain waves oscillate between alpha, beta, delta, depending on how deep the sleep is, or depending on how efficient the sleep is, right? So we're saying that to say that the religious manuscript keeps people in that sleep state, right? And Trump and Netanyahu, though they are political leaders, and you may think that they're separating politics from religion or spirituality, but they're actually one and the same. And they're keeping people, that the laws that they pass keep you in a delta frequency. Every time they drop a bomb, it's keeping you in a delta frequency. Every time people get sick, it's keeping you in a delta frequency. So sickness, bombs, religion, politics, all of that is to keep you in a certain frequency, right? I don't know if Tar wants to add on to that, but I have Tar on the line right now. He's gonna add on a little bit. As far as the political landscape, he might take it another direction, as far as that's concerned. But Tar, introduce yourself, Tar, and if you want, you chime in, as far as the political landscape and what's taking place on the planet.
All right. True peace on this, I'm Paul Kimo Nufu. I'm also a notable and a member of the Ethiopian race. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to give a special shout out to Carl for being there for us to help us get the information out that needs to be presented to our people. But But yeah, you was doing good, Ken. I think that the bigger problem I think the world is being by nature starting to see about Israel and all this other stuff. But the reality that we're having is, as long as we are under this country and its power structures and its affiliates and associates, we won't be to figure nothing out. And people got to realize, like Afro would say, he instructed us not to join any organization. And when you in a place like America where things like the CIA and the FBI and the Mossad and all these other groups we done read about, these people continuously and constantly create states of dissension. And if you're a real history buff, you would also know that they will infiltrate, they'll create leaders and put people in place like they did to the Black Panthers and all these different folks. And sometimes they don't always want to destroy Black people. What they want to do is misguide them. And so this is why we have all of these different groups, from, the Democrats and liberals. And I think you had another member of our race on speaking about the Moors. I could hardly hear him.
Yeah.
But I think I heard him speak about the Moors and stuff like that. It's a lot of discrepancies around that group, Garvey and all these different things we went through, and to the point that, and the reason we'll never get it together is because, the spirit factor, that's one of the main problems that we have in this country, is we keep thinking we need spirituality and the sense that of how it's been given. And it's just different versions of it. And we have to, once our major enemy has been removed as a major player and being under them, we'll be able to figure certain things out. And but yeah, what I keep telling people now, the main thing is to understand the Israeli situation is that people need to start studying their belief. I'm not talking about Judaism, and I'm not talking about Orthodox so-called Jews. I'm talking about Zionism and the Talmud and the Mishnah and the Zohar and the Hazor and all those other little books that they're following. And the Kabbalah is at the root of it. What most of people don't realize is the Kabbalah is responsible for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And it's a magical thing. And if you don't understand what they're really doing, you'll never be able to come to that conclusion on how to handle it. So we have to educate ourselves and understand that the fact that we all these different things is because of religion too. Religion is a spell. And the fact that all of the stuff that Black people have engaged in, all of the religions have did us dirty. So if you're talking about you a Christian, go do some research on Christianity and see what Black people experience as Christians. If you're a Muslim, same thing. Islam did us dirty than the Caucasian did in more time. We did 400 some years under Christianity, but we did 1,000 some years of slavery under Islam. So to sit here and to misunderstand these things is why we are at a disadvantage because of that. I'm on the phone, right? I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone with you. So that's our main problem. We don't get together and understand that. It's like when somebody that a person put a spell on somebody and the person is acting weird, and the people who don't have no knowledge don't know what to say. And so somebody says, they go around somebody that got knowledge, and they tell them, they say, I need you to take a look at this. And the person who got knowledge of, say, let's say witchcraft or something, they say, yeah, this person, somebody put a spell on this person. And so what happens is they have to take them to somebody to undo to look at it. So that's our problem. We're handling this stuff the wrong way. We're trying to handle black people's problems politically instead of with the proper information. So if a person is under witchcraft, then somebody's gonna go and find the right person to deal with that. You wouldn't take that person to the Democrats and to the Republicans if they got a spell on them. You see what I'm saying? We're applying the wrong things. We keep running around in a circle, and in the circle is why we get like a hamster wheel, and we keep repeating the same thing. And that's what I've been noticing, is that every generation we keep just getting a new, fresher batch of the same people, the same folks that didn't listen to garbage. The new group of people come. The same group of people that didn't listen to Noble Drew Alu, another group, and Farrakhan and Rick, and they keep going and going. And all we're doing is getting old to the situation. So what we got to do is come together and understand that we're under a spiritual attack, and religion is the main problem. And then understand, like Anu said, about these different frequencies and the different gods that's involved. And until we understand that, we're going to have a problem. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
No problem. Appreciate it, Ken. Always great insight as far as, making sure that the information comes together in a cohesive manner to make sure that we can all really understand what we up against and what we're facing as a race. So thank you again, Ken, for giving your discernment and positive insight. So what you call it, Claude, I think wants to say something to you real quick before.
So break it down, Tom. Break it down to me about the wars and all this stuff dealing like New said about Delta area. So break down the Trump area with this stuff going on with Trump.
Because he got caught up in Epstein's files, and Epstein is a small hat. That's what the problem is. All of these people got what they call, what the Caucasian he calls a honeypot. They don't call it when it's us. Oh, it's a sexual scandal. It's this and it's that. But when they get caught up in stuff, they call it a honeypot. It's always something nice and neat. But that's what the Epstein files reveal, is that the Israelis have a whole world spy system. And that's what they say. Israel doesn't produce anything but porn, weapons, and technology. That's all Israel gives to the world, and they done trapped everybody. If you go back and look at it, every since the formation of the state of Israel, every president they done had, except JFK, went over there and gave support for Israel and kissed the wall. Everybody done done.
See what happened to JFK?
Yeah, so JFK was killed because he wanted Israel to register as a foreign nation, and they the only group or nation that don't have to register, and they don't allow nobody to stick their country for nuclear weapons. But they over there blaming Iran and Iraq for having weapons of mass destruction, and Israel have stole all types of enrichment for nuclear weapons all the way back in the 70s. So they even got something called the Samson option. But what people don't know, they saying if Israel is threatened to the point of they think they about to be destroyed, they got a nuclear program called Samson option, and it's going to go off and hit every major country in the world.
Say what?
So
Yeah, that's like Russia too. Russia got the same thing called the dead hand.
Yeah.
Right. But everybody knows Russia and China got, and Pakistan and India got nuclear weapons. Yeah. But Israel is the only country that America is not allowed to go over there and check their facilities while they over there saying Iran is going to have a bomb next week. For the last 20 years, Netanyahu been lying.
Yep.
They got all that. They done attacked American soldiers, all types of stuff Israel got away with that any other country they would have slaughtered.
Yep.
But that's the reason why Trump them is doing what he's doing, because they all are following what Israel is saying, and they all following the Old Testament and the Book of Revelations. All that stuff is they following it to a T.
Yep.
I think Jordan Maxwell was a good person. He went in on that as well, and even Bill Cooper. And a lot of these people they done killed, but they'll pretend that they're not. It's not about believing in a God, because see, they don't. God is a title. What they following in the Kabbalah is called Leviathan. Leviathan comes from what they think they call their God, the unknowable God, called Ein Sof. And they saying that the 10 spears and the Kabbalah tree of life from the top, that Ein Sof inhale and exhale, it's divine into all those spears, and the spears couldn't hold the divine, and it broke up into what they call Kelipot. And once they got down to the levels of the human world, animals and all that, it was saying that the divine got trapped into human beings or non-Jews. And they saying the Jews got some of it, but all of us got a divine spark, but we're considered evil. And they call it a Yesod, which is the sexual energy that got corrupt. So they saying that Leviathan is corrupt, and it's only corrupt because it's inside of non-Jews. So this is why they talk about calling us goy animals and we don't deserve to live, because you gotta understand their belief system. So that's why I'm telling everybody that can hear this message, if you don't understand the Kabbalah, that's the Jews' true spiritualism, not Judaism. Judaism is just
the front.
Yeah, it's the front to cover it, but they lace Judaism with the Kabbalah. The Talmud is a bunch of rabbis over the centuries who give their own take of Genesis all the way to Zechariah. So when you hear them talking about sex with children at 3 years old, and they can have sex with animals and rob non-Jews, all that is for rabbis who actually follow the Kabbalah, who was full of demons.
Okay.
So they don't. Go ahead.
So that's why they try to. There was a current event that happened in Israel. When Israel soldier raped a Palestine woman.
Yeah.
And he got off, and they said they could do that because they're a Palestine person.
Right.
That go back to Kabbalah, you saying?
Right. He talking about when that Israeli that Israeli soldier raped that Palestinian woman. You remember that? And he got off.
They just got off. Remember?
Who got off?
They just had a few Israeli dudes was raping some of the prisoners. Remember when they released the prisoners a couple months ago?
Yeah.
And they was raping them, and a female that was over them leaked the information. Mm-hmm. And they got protected and they got released. They ain't never go to jail. They just were kind of like been pulled from duty, and they just got exonerated like last month, and Netanyahu called them heroes.
Yep.
So that, and again, because the Kabbalah and the Talmud tells them that non-Jews are not human and that we're beneath them. So they have a spiritual mandate that allows them to, what you saying them doing the Gaza and all of that, they've been doing that. Go back to the book of Joshua after Moses, right? According to them, God told Joshua and them to go in there and clean the Canaanite out. The Canaanite is the Arabs of the day, Esau and Edom.
They following that Bible.
So if you go read what Joshua and them was told, that's the same thing y'all saying now. So when people say, oh, those are not the Jews of back then and God ain't with that, that's a lie. That's the same God that told Joshua to go murder men, women, children, and animals. That's in the book right now, the King James Version. And they couldn't get all the Canaanites out. So he said the Lord left them in there so the Jews can learn how to fight. That's the type of God that's over all their religions. Christianity did the same thing. Instead of doing it for Hashem, they was doing it for Christ. Same thing with the Muslims. Instead of doing it for Hashem or Christ, they doing it for Allah. They all doing the same thing. when you take out the good people you know and look at what the people of the book do and what the book say, the Quran, like they said, is broken up into 6 points of time. Before Mecca, they was in Medina, and when they was in Mecca, they didn't really have no power. They was cool with the Jews. When they got to Medina, they got power. And then they start saying, don't take Jews and Christians for friends. They protectors of each other, kill the infidels. This is why you see the Muslims doing what they doing. But all of them are following the same murderous spirit forces. That's why all of them are guilty, and it's on record, of destroying millions of people. Right now, it's still black slaves in Arab countries in the open. So while they sit here talking about what the Israelis are doing, the Arabs are supplying weapons, the UAE and all of them is supplying weapons to the Sudan jihadists and killing Africans and castrating. They still doing the same thing. All religions are spells. All of them. There's not one good religion on the planet.
No.
Because if it was so, you wouldn't find this track record of them murdering in the name of their gods. All of them are guilty of the same thing.
That about religion, man-made. That about the original spirituality. Go back to Kemet anyway. Go back to Kemetics.
It just got corrupted.
Yeah.
I'm doing a video because a new dropped it with the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah actually came out of Kemet, and the small hands corrupted it. So I gotta break that down.
Yep.
And it's a spot that is called a temple in men. A new can go in it a little bit more better than I'm just the editor. When he drops stuff that I'm not familiar with, I have to go and educate myself on it. But a new can break that down more so with the connection of the origin of the Kabbalah and the system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate you, Ken. Yeah, you dropped a heavy bomb on the set, man. Netanyahu right now, he hiding from you because you out here dropping nuclear bombs on them. But no, we appreciate you, Ken. You always bring some very strong insight. And it's not for anybody to get in their feelings about the politics and things like that, because we fall into this spell of voting over and over and over and over, not realizing that every single one of these presidents has an agenda and has I'm sorry? You said Obama, even Obama, they all in the same, and that's the thing, we get so emotionally attached to the person, and we're not really understanding the agenda. So I got Obama and Trump in the same barrel. Not even gonna lie to you. I got George Bush. All American presidents have done nothing for black people. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing. From Trump to Obama to Biden to, if anything, I see them all as doing a disservice to us black folk, right? And regardless if you want to call yourself black, Moor, African American, Kemetic, I don't care what you call yourself. They look at you biologically as someone inferior to who they are.